so they did it wrong, and did they just answer by sending you a new one? But it's not what's. So you just ordered a new one? Hmm. Okay. Okay. Yeah, I'm excited. I'm going to be shooting robot dinosaurs. This game is so good. You're literally adding that mouse function to your keyboard. Hope you know that. So you press a button and it'll act like it's left click. It's left clicking like crazy fire. That opens up like the keyboard properties in just in Windows alone. All right. Let me know when you're ready to start. Oh, it won't be it won't be there. It'll be probably under lighting, I imagine. Yeah. Usually react to sound means you disable this. It will only react to sound. Yeah, reactive. There you go. See now, like if you play music. Yeah, it's like you tell it when it react. You tell it what color is it, and then like, so like type like you put on some sort of music, it will just react to the sound. So you hit advanced effect. Nope. Yep, that's your options. An audio meter. So there you go. So maybe if you play, it also probably should react, I imagine, like a audio meter. So like here, let's do this. In there, just type in dubstep. Okay. Alrighty. Blah, 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 blah. Mm-hmm. Boom, 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 boom. You ready to read? All right. Took you a while. Keyboard! Lighting! Because I clicked it right before you said I'm ready. Yeah, just give me. There you go. Oh. Let's see if there's still sound in the background. All right. You ready? Oh. Another thing I forgot to enable. All right. King G is your home for amazing. Thank you for just your compassion and just your goodness. As we read the writings of the ancients, we just thank you that you partner with humanity, and every time humanity fell short, but your answer was in you come as humanity, who is the truly human one, who is the true partner, who gets it right from beginning to end. And you getting it right from beginning to end meant you had to die on the cross. And so as we read the writings, the prophets that testify about you, King Jesus, what you're here for and what you did, we just look forward to and humble ourselves towards your teaching. We're in Father's name. Amen. Knowing and acknowledging. Listen to Yahweh's message, Israelites, because Yahweh has a contention with the country inhabitants, because there is no truthfulness or commitment, no acknowledging of God in the country. Cursing, deceit, murder, robbery, and adultery have spread out. Bloodshed follows on bloodshed. Therefore the country withers. Everyone who lives in it wastes away. With the animal in the wild and the bird in the heavens, even the fish in the sea are swept away. Yet no one is to contend, no one is to reprove. Your people are the very ones contending with the priest, and you'll fall by day. A prophet will also fall with you by night, and I shall destroy your mother. My people are destroyed for lack of acknowledging me, because you've rejected acknowledging me. I shall reject you from being a priest for me. You disregarded your God's teaching. I shall disregard your children too. As they became many, so they offended against me. I shall exchange their honor for humiliation. They feed on my people's offenses. They direct its appetite to their waywardness. So it will be as the people, so the priest. I shall attend to its ways for it. I shall bring back its deeds for it. They've eaten, but they're not full. They've been immoral, but they don't spread out, because they've abandoned Yahweh to pay heed to immorality. As wine and new wine takes away sense, my people consults its piece of wood. Its stick informs it, because an immoral spirit has led it astray. They've been immoral from under their God. On tops of the mountains they sacrifice. On the hills they burn offerings. Under oak, poplar, and terebinth, because its shade is good. Therefore your daughters are immoral, your brides commit adultery. I shall not attend to your daughters because they're immoral, or to your brides because they commit adultery, because the men themselves consort with whores and sacrifice with sacred women, and a people that doesn't understand collapses. If you're immoral, Israel, Judah must not become guilty. Don't come to Gilgal. Don't go up to Beth Aven. Don't swear as Yahweh lives, because like a stubborn cow, Israel has been stubborn. Now Yahweh will graze them like sheep on the range. Ephraim is attached to images. Leave him to himself. Their drink has gone as they hoard and hoard, loved and loved. Humiliation is its gift. The wind has bound it up in its wings. The wind has bound it up in its wings, so that they'll be ashamed. Because of their sacrifices. So Hosea, there's definitely a prophecy from Yahweh, right? And so this is, listen to Yahweh's message, Israelite. There is just blood shed. This just starts like compromise after compromise. Compromise after compromise. So I am going to spit you out. The land's going to spit you out. And you know, the scripture is always showing over and over again. When chasing immorality, death follows. Especially in the Israel land, especially chasing the other gods, because the other gods, they're very demanding of children, or very demanding of just compromise, and so injustice follows. In Britain and the United States, I've been stopped by the police and asked, "Sir, do you know what the speed limit was on that road?" In both places, I knew it was 65 miles per hour, and I was doing rather more. I've reformed now. In both contexts, I amuse myself by reflecting that if I ever had that experience in Israel, I'll be less sure how to answer the question. You ready for clincher? Because the Hebrew word for know implies that you're recognizing something by the way you live, not merely that you're aware of some fact. So they don't know Yahweh because they may hear about him, but knowing in ancient Hebrew, does it mean that you have head knowledge? And what does it also mean? and you're doing it. I knew the speed limit, but I was not acknowledging it. The prophets are fond of this word for no that carries over into acknowledging, and Hosea uses it 3 times in this section. First, there's no truthfulness or commitment in Ephraim. In other words, there's no acknowledging of God. We might think that he's continuing his attack on Ephraim's religious life, but he explains that this failure expresses itself in cursing, deceit, murder, robbery, adultery, and bloodshed. Cursing won't mean that what we call profanity. Are you ready for another? So he's not explaining what in ancient Hebrew what cursing means. Doesn't mean that you said a bad word. So cursing won't mean that what we call profanity, but calling down disaster on other people. In this context, adultery will have its literal meaning. Hosea is cascading. My brain is not liking that word for some reason right now. I said with all caps.
Castigate. Castigate. Castigate.
Castigate. Okay,
Castigate.
reprimand. All right. So think reprimand. So finger. Okay. So Hosea is reprimanding, Hosea is castigating people for the most basic failure of covenant commitment, failing to pay attention to the 10 Commandments. Praying to the masters also breaches those basic, not very demanding expectations. It explains why things are going wrong with the community's life. All right. Let's ask Ethan if he knows. When they say praying to the masters, Ethan, who are they referring to? Baals, right. You know what's interesting is it being master in the ancient Hebrew, it could have meant like, because in that patriarchal society, they'll see the men as the master. And also they used to sometimes in ancient Israelite, before like the word the master was attached to Baal, like you could say Yahweh was the master. Isn't that interesting? But then like throughout, like, since he is called the master, and then now like that word gets connected to the god of the Canaanite, taboo just to even say masters at all. Mm-hmm. It explains why things are going wrong with the community's life. The second paragraph subverts that opening critique by declaring that responsibility for what's wrong in the community lies within the priesthood. When Hosea speaks of a priest, he may mean the head priest. Amos 7 tells a story about a head priest in Ephraim, or may mean any priest. While the priest's role involved leading worship, they were like pastors. Their role also involved teaching. If people behave as if they don't know what the Torah expects of them, it may mean the priests have been failing to fulfill their teaching role. It's easy for pastors or priests to focus on encouraging people and not say the hard things that need saying. The same applies to prophets, when Hosea goes on to mention. Priests, prophets, and pastors are dependent on their people for their livelihood, so they're under pressure not to be too confrontational. There is a vicious collision between the desires and the waywardness of both parties. The failure of priests and prophets will mean they lose their position, but it'll also mean the community as a whole, their mother, pays a terrible price. It will be a consequence of their failing to acknowledge Yahweh and thus of the people's failing to do so. Hosea subsequently reverts to the other sort of failure over acknowledging Yahweh. The metaphorical morality and adultery, seeking help from other gods with their images. He derides them as mere lumps of wood. The worship at these sanctuaries may also have involved sex as an acted prayer for fertility. Either way, Hosea says, don't just blame the woman, especially the ones who are keen to conceive. Blame the men who also take part in worship with these pagan priestesses. As he earlier said, don't just blame the people, blame the priest. The last paragraph adds another snide comment along the lines of, okay, Ephraim, indulge in your religious immorality, but don't let it infect Judah. Later prophets such as Jeremiah will note that Judah itself needs to take this message to heart. Gilgal, near Jericho, and Beth-aven, a derogatory substitute name for Bethel, were near Ephraim's southern border with Judah. All right. You ready for the next section? Mm-hmm. So you're looking at Beth Aven. This is a derogatory substitute, I guess, name for Bethel. Whew. House of Vanity or House of Wickedness. All right. Hosea chapter 5, verse 1 to chapter 6, verse 3. When moth and rot corrupts and thieves break in and steal. Listen to this priest. Pay attention, Israelites. Give your royal household, because authority belongs to you, because you've been a snare to Mizpah. You've spread a net over Tabor. Rebels have made deep slaughter. I myself am the chastisement for them all. I myself have acknowledged Ephraim. Israel has not eluded me, because you're now been immoral, Ephraim. Israel has become unclean. Their deeds don't allow them to turn back to their God, because there's an immoral spirit within them. They've not acknowledged Yahweh. Israel's majesty will testify against it. So Israel and Ephraim will fall through their waywardness. Judah has fallen with them too. They may go out with their flocks and their cattle to seek help from Yahweh, but they won't find him. He has withdrawn from them. They've been false to Yahweh, because they've given birth to alien children. The new moon will now devour them with all their allocations. Sound the horn in Gibeah, a trumpet in Ramah. Raise a shout in Beth Aven after you, Benjamin. Ephraim will become a waste on the day of reproof. Against Israel's clans, I have made known something certain. Judah's officials have become veritable boundary movers. On them I shall pour out my fury like water. Ephraim is defrauded, crushed by judgment, because he resolved and went after emptiness. But I myself am like a moth to Ephraim, like rot to Judah's household. Ephraim saw its sickness, Judah its sore. Ephraim went to Assyria, sent to the great king. But that man won't be able to heal you. He won't cure you of the sore, because I shall be like a lion to Ephraim, like a cougar to Judah's household. I myself shall tear and go. I shall carry, and there be no one to rescue. I shall go. I shall return to my place until they bear their guilt and seek help from me. In their distress shall seek me urgently. Come on, let's go back to Yahweh, because he's the one who tore, and he can heal us. He injured, and he can bandage us. He can bring us to life after 2 days. On the third day, he can raise us up so that we can live in his presence. When we pursue acknowledging Yahweh. Like dawn, his coming out is sure. He'll come to us like rain, like spring rain that waters the earth. So from what I'm gathering is more compromise all the way to the priesthood, which he mentioned earlier. And now even Judah is lumped in their compromises. But then, as always, here is, please, just come back to Yahweh. Receive the healing balm so that the land doesn't spit you out. My judgment doesn't have to be exacted on you. While I was at class 2 evenings ago, my wife discovered that a stretch of the bottom of the wall underneath my desk had disintegrated. Raid had been getting into the base of the wall outside, and California walls aren't made of anything substantial such as brick, like British walls. They're made of wood covered in stucco. Did I see that? Stucco? Okay. Okay. Is that like modified is that what that wood, like it's like wood that is like grinded together and then held together by glue? Is that particle board? So particle board is different than the stucco wood, right?
So stucco is basically like
Hmm. I see. All right. So hmm. So his house is having a problem. It's rotting because water's getting into it. Well, he's from Britain. He like straight up calls out how we build our walls in the United States of America. He's like, unlike
our construction practices
That's what he's saying. It's like British
Yeah.
walls.
Go to America and get bricks and you'll be fine.
He's in America. I mean, go to Britain to get bricks, right?
The issue
Oh.
is that America doesn't like to do things that will last, like economies. They do everything for profit.
It's the bottom. It's the bottom rung. They made of wood covered in stucco. If water gets in, they rot. The rain will immediately come through to wet my feet as I work. In this sense, it's not an immediate problem, but the problem needs urgent attention because it will spread. Eventually, a entire wall will collapse. In one of the Bible's more striking images, Yahweh declares that I'm like rot to Judah's household. If I translated it, Judah's house, the analogy with our apartment will be even closer. I'm like a moth to Ephraim. If the moths get at your clothes or your bedding, they soon become useless. If you see the slightest indication of rot, moth, or mold in your house, it's vital to deal with it straight away. Otherwise, things will simply fall apart. The moth thing? Mothra?
Yeah. So
Moth, yeah.
moths, the insect,
Uh-huh.
the reason they were such a big problem is because they will eat wool.
Mm.
So basically they'll lay eggs on like a sheet of wool, and so when those eggs hatch, you got the tiny little larva, and they'll eat
So it's a larva eating the wool.
basically
Not like adult moths, but it's a
pretty
lot.
much. So what you have, like you'll see this, if you look into keeping wool safe, like
Mhm.
people use cedar because it's naturally like insect repellent.
Interesting.
Insects do not like it in the slightest,
So they'll stay away from cedar.
basically.
Hmm. Okay.
I think that might also be part of the reason why you see in the temple,
Mm-hmm.
the first temple, how it was constructed with cedar
That makes sense, yeah.
in order to,
Because insects, yeah. So if the moths get at your clothes or your bedding, they soon become useless. If you see a slightest indication of rot, moth, or mold in your house, it's vital to deal with it straight away. Otherwise, things will simply fall apart. If I were on my own, I might have taken our rot very seriously, but Kathleen is an architect and knows what can follow from neglect. She knows we must take action. Hosea is in an architect position in relation to Israel, but it can't get it to take the problem seriously. It's as if he's blowing the horn to announce an enemy's approach, but they ignore it. There's a literal enemy to talk about. Ephraim is under pressure from Assyria, and the reference to Judah stealing land reflects the tension between Judah and Ephraim in this political context. But Ephraim has a more sinister enemy, Yahweh himself. So here, Ephraim is like thinking that their biggest enemy is Assyria, but turns out Yahweh has set his face against them, against you. Well, it's like if you're playing Strongest Battleground, right? And you think your greatest enemy is the other person who's targeting you. But just imagine that, like, just imagine you're not noticing that your health is just ticking away. And you're just like, whatever, my big enemy is other people. No, your biggest enemy is whatever's ticking away your health. Once again,
A whole entire year.
Once again, Hosea addresses the whole people and also the priests who teach them, but additionally the royal household, the king and his administration. They're the people who have authority to support faithfulness and fairness in the community and to shield the vulnerable, but they're being a snare instead of protecting people from a snare. There's something mysterious about the community's unwillingness to face facts, as if we were to ignore our disintegrating wall. It's as if they're possessed by an immoral spirit, a spirit that insists on their persisting in their unfaithfulness to Yahweh. They won't let themselves turn back to Yahweh. They can take lots of animals to sacrifice, but in the absence of a change of life, it won't put things right. In the closing paragraph, Hosea calls the community to the action that's required. The community needs to return to Yahweh, giving up seeking help and provision from other gods. It needs to acknowledge Yahweh. That verb makes the same point, but it adds to it. Because acknowledging means doing what Yahweh says about the nature of community life, about matters such as faithfulness and fairness and protecting the weak. It involves action, hence the reference to pursuing such acknowledgement. The good news is that Yahweh having the capacity to overwhelm you like a lion, a warrior, a storm, or the sun's heat also means that Yahweh has the capacity to heal and restore. So it's like there's always images of Yahweh, the anger bearer, like he is just ready to pounce you. But if he has that power, he also has the power to restore you. And thanks be like God's nature is always wanting to restore. Like that's his nature. And to do so quite quickly, within 2 or 3 days. Rain and sun can be destructive forces, but also life-giving ones. All right, friend, we can start.
Sempre que penso que já limpamos o sítio e eles abrem uma nova câmara. E o sol e esse sítio
Have you seen this game, Ethan? Horizon Zero Dawn. So good. I noticed I got a message mid-reading, so let me just quickly check it. Okay, got it. All right, they all responded with acknowledgement. And this is not against machine. This is actually the less, like, the very cut and dry against humans. Against robots is where it's like
Nunca se está demasiado
where the
preparada.
fun's at.
Isto já foi
But you know the premise of it, pretty much.
Mas a selva entrou. E agora
Pretty much
também
humans
a
got high technology and then they ran themselves into almost extinction. And so now only people are left who barely know the technology. They've gotten very tribal. Let's pull that up. Bye. I don't feel like waiting until he comes back.
eles estão a escapar demasiado longe. Deviam acatar ordens. Se não sabes o que é, então deixa-nos ver as coisas em paz.
Oh.
Continua à procura.
Oh, what? He bobbed his head. What? I remember games like this, like being younger and just absolutely like having to like redo it over and over again because I was like, as a young boy, I was just absolute trash. It's nice to be older and decent, you know? I don't know if you ever...
É muito peso para
Well,
levar às costas.
it's like one thing is nice about switching lefty is like I feel the control, like it's just more now, like I feel like I just need to get used to it more. Like usually with my right hand on the mouse, like it takes everything to rein in to get a good multiple headshots, but this like every like inch of moving, I feel like I'm in control.
Deve ter sido
And I
um
think I told you that
desmoronamento
before, so
bem
I'm
grande.
gonna stop repeating myself. I'm like, now that I found the beauty of using my dominant hand on mouse, I'm like trying to convince all my left-hander friends to make the switch. Make the switch. Embrace the struggle.
Calma.
Temos um problema.
I found the cauldron. Yeah, see, it has that auto tracking.
Parceiro. Se era neste sítio que as máquinas nasciam, por que é que isto
Ela foi
parece
por
mais
ali.
um túmulo?
Estás a ficar sombrio, sabias? Precisas de apanhar mais sol.
Chapter 2 of what? Oh, is that your horror game that you play? How dare they lie to you? That's it. Write them an angry worded letter.
Nunca se sabe quando vou precisar disto.
43 damage core. Please.
Vá lá.
Any more moops? Okay. I went first. Oh, all right. And that's, you just die. Game. It'd be really funny if this is actually the end of game that I just like. My exploration has cost me ending the game early. I don't think I'm supposed to go here yet. Because I go in the cauldron before. That will be. I remember when I saw someone actually playing video games at like an airport terminal TV, because it was like during those moments when like they connected their console to it. It was like during those moments where people were like just stuck at the airport because I think it was like Delta was just like shutting down flights to try to save money, and people were just starting to get stranded. So desperation really creates invention. I'm like trying to like, my brain's like, is it intervention? Or innovation? Innovations? Like that, how is it? I think the game's telling me I'm not supposed to go in here yet. Because I go down this hole that I'm supposed to go, that the quest is telling me to, and it just straight up starts me up, back up here. Oh, there it is.
Vou guardar para mais tarde. Já estou cheia.
There we go. Never mind. I can still keep going. I'm getting some OG Fallout vibes though. They have this whoa whoa sound that's like just like Fallout 2.
What a rocket. I was way over prepared. So Ethan, what's cool about this is you can set traps. And so I had a full line of just like electricity traps ready for them to, if they got close.
Não te aproximos dessa coisa. É uma ordem, vinda da própria sombra oculta.
French. This game, yeah, this game, the OG language is French. Which is actually a nice change, because usually it's either English or Japanese that is the main. Huh. I like Eastern European language. Makes sense. One thing I do like about something I appreciate is how much of a deal hunting. I've learned it from being with like just other non-American cultures, is how heavy deal hunting they can get. This looks like an ambush. I might just lay 1 million traps before I start this. The moment I pop this, it will trigger an ambush. Just has that ambush vibe, you know? Trap, 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 trap. Always be laying the trap, traps.
Nem é bom ver. Isso mesmo. Mais máquinas que posso converter.
Oh. Oh, now I got to defend the core. Yeah. There you are.
Está aí.
Oh. Oh, that's annoying. All my traps, like the game reloaded, and so all my traps, like it's acted like I spent my resources on the traps, but they're gone. Oh gosh, it just starts. Oh, this sucks. I wish. All right, I gotta. Oh yeah. Oh god.
Cuidado, ela libertou a máquina. Sai do fogo!
Alright, I just need to get the background.
As máquinas devem ter sido armazenadas aqui.
Seguidores.
Oh, stalkers. I see. course, they make that instant death. Of course. Oh, seriously, I gotta defend the waves again.
Cuidado, ela libertou máquinas. Olha, tá aqui.
As máquinas devem ter sido
Alright, 11 minutes, my friend. We gotta bounce.
Não consigo levar mais. cuidar com eles na gente.
Fica calado, ou somos todos mortos.
Posso precisar disto.
Pelo amor do sol.
Okay, we're done. That's what's better. I'm trying to hit him. How's that? Think Reggie's gonna have one more night with us? Should Cody, should Ethan's dog join the dog party? Bailey, should Ethan's party join the dog party? Ethan's dog join the dog party.
Lá vamos nós outra vez. gostaria de deixar algo para trás.
Ah, that's what these were.
Estou quase lá fora.
Ooh, perfect timing. West. Inventory. Tired. Or you want to bounce after the episode?
Eu desisto. Sombra não revela tudo. Não estou sozinho.
Não se importem comigo. Bem, mas foi a operação de salvamento deles. Tiram-se com algo que não
How much longer in the episode? I thought it was close. It looked like a. All right, that means we'll be leaving at 5:24. Is that okay with you?
Já tenho peso em demasia.
All right, guys. We'll be back on tonight for some Great Friday. Catch you guys then. Peace.